Hey Erica, how you doing today?
Good, thank you.
You're doing good? I was hoping today we could revisit the two-chair technique. We used it a few sessions ago. You might remember. And I know in the last session, I felt like we were kind of getting to a point where we identified a conflict. Do you know what I'm referring to?
Kind of between part of me that wants to settle down, but then part of me that also wants to pursue my career and what I'm doing.
So we have a part that wants to settle down and a part that wants to keep going with the career. So for this two-chair, what I'd like to do is, in the chair where you're seated now, this will be the emotional self, in this case, the side that wants to pursue the career.
Yeah.
From what I saw before, that seems like
That's what I really want, yes.
you're more emotionally connected. That's what you
Yeah,
want.
that's what I want.
So this will be the side of you that has the needs and the wants and more the emotion.
Okay.
All right, so that's who you'll be in this chair. Does that make sense?
Yep.
In the other chair, let's have that critic that's inside, that internal critic that's advocating for settling down, for getting married, for having kids. In a way, it represents a societal pressure.
Yeah.
Do those two sides seem separate to you?
Yeah.
You feel like you can be the emotional self here and the internal critic there?
I think so.
Okay. So I think you remember how this works. You'll be talking to, in this case, the internal critic. Right? So the internal critic's on the side of settling down, getting married. And then when you're ready to have the critic respond, you'll switch to that chair and respond to the emotional, need-driven, and wanting side. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So whenever you're ready, go ahead and speak directly to the internal critic.
I want to finish what I'm doing, and I want to finish what I started. I've worked so hard on my career path, and I'm so close to finishing. And I want to finish for me. I want to accomplish those goals that I've set for myself. And it's something I'm passionate about.
Right.
Switch.
So you made your statement. Yeah, you ready to switch?
Mhm.
Okay, go ahead, switch. So now you're the internal critic.
There's always time to pursue a career, but I need to focus on what's expected of me at this time. I'm the best age for having kids. I have a loving boyfriend who is ready and wants to get married and settle down. And you are being selfish by just following a path that you can take at any time.
All right, so the internal critic accusing the emotional side, in this case, the career side, being selfish. And notice your posture is very linear, right? You're upright.
Mm-hmm.
I notice you kind of put your hand out a little bit when you were talking. Try to think of the internal critic's body movements. Try to act that out a little bit.
Okay. I think it's accusational. You know, I think I just want it to tell the emotional part that it's being stupid, that it's, you're not acting in the best interest of everyone else. Just want to like jump at it.
You want to jump at the emotional side.
Yeah.
All right, so that's the internal critic. Are you ready to respond back to the internal critic from the emotional side?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, switch. So the internal critic has just called you selfish, and among other things. This is your response.
I feel like I'm being attacked, and I don't think it's wrong to think about myself and what I am truly passionate about.
Let me interrupt you. So your hands, they're pointing back toward the career emotional self.
Mm-hmm.
What can you do with your hands that really embody what you want to communicate to the internal critic? Is there anything else you want to do? Right now they're pointing toward you.
They're pointing towards me to protect myself from what the critics is saying. I just want to like push that back towards the critic.
So continue and use that motion there. You're pushing the internal critic away.
Okay.
All right.
So I don't need to feel guilty. I don't need to feel selfish for wanting to follow my dreams.
All right. Does the internal critic have something to say back?
No?
All right.
I think the critic... Well, I'll try.
That's right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you've now pushed the emotional side has pushed the critic away.
Okay. And I think the critic feels like it understands where the emotional side of me is coming from. Like I can recognize why it's so important, and like why working so hard is worth that, sense of accomplishment that's going to come with it, and how it's going to, in the long run, help provide for all these extra things that I want to, like my family in the future. I can see that.
All right. So the internal critic is now you have your hands down here as the internal critic.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Is the internal critic less angry, less assertive?
Less pushy.
Less pushy.
Less pushy. Yeah, it's not as critical, truthfully. It's just, I feel like the pressure isn't weighing on either shoulders. You know what I mean?
All right. So the critic is more separated now, maybe a little bit, but also has a different outlook.
More quiet. It's not like always yelling at me, because I think sometimes it might still say something, but not in like the urgency that it had before.
So the critic has lost some of its vigor and determination.
Yeah.
All right. So move back to the emotional, and then just face toward me. So what have you gained here through your communication back and forth with the internal critic?
I feel calmer.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, the critic has always been a part of me, but that part of me is more like, it's not as assertive, it's not as, intense right now. It's calm, and I think that the emotional part of me was able to win the argument, per se,
Mhm.
just because that's what I want.
So at the end of this conflict, after we split into the two parts here, the end of this conflict is eventually a decision. Right? It's a decision to pursue a career or to settle down. Do you feel you gain more clarity in that decision?
Yeah, because I feel like I can stay on my decision is and has been to stay on my career path,
Mhm.
but now I feel less guilty for doing it.
All right, so that's really been your decision all along, but the internal critic was harassing you this whole time.
Yes, harassment is a good word.
And today you were able to kind of shove that internal critic back a little and allow that internal critic to see how strongly you feel with the decision you've made.
Yeah,
Is that accurate?
very much so.
Do you feel it was a helpful technique for you?
Yeah, I do. I think that separating the two sides helped me realize which one felt stronger.
So it was able to give you some clarity.
Yes.
Great. All right, well, let's, I want you to reflect on what's happened here between now and the next session.
Okay.
Right? It's kind of a lot happened, and it seems like you've gained clarity for your decision, and then we'll pick up with the next session and see how things have progressed with, see if that internal critic is still harassing you or if it kind of stays back, and if you have more peace with the decision. Does that sound like a plan?
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Erica. I'll see you next week.
Thanks.